everyone. Praise God and welcome to another episode of Apple Juice. We are at episode number 8. I want to welcome you again to watching this episode. My name is Andrea Carolina Garcia and I am your host. In this podcast, we talk about daily lives and struggles, but through an apostolic Christian lens to maybe help give you words of encouragement and help you along your path with Jesus Christ. In today's episode, by request, we're going to talk about college life with my special guest today, Victoria Cazarez. Woo! So just a little bit about Vicky. She is 1/3 of the iconic trio, as I like to say. Yeah. So it's always me, Vicky, and Anna everywhere we go, always, whenever we go traveling. Sadly, that's not going to be like that for long.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Breaks my heart. Yeah, so sometimes she's in the background when we're doing a podcast with Ana Rosa. She is currently the co-director with me for the juniors department. She assisted as a member for the youth board for a few years, honestly. Like, I feel like from when you're like 16 to 18, you were doing it. She's currently a Sunday school teacher, the youth social media director, and what we're here today for, she got a bachelor's degree in psychology. Wow. And she spent dorm life over in Purdue, Fort Wayne. So I don't know if you want to introduce yourself a little bit, Vicky. Let us know where you're from, how you grew up. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, I'm Vicky. I'm really nervous right now. I'll be honest. I haven't been on this podcast for a reason. I'm just so nervous. I feel like Anna, I don't know. I feel like she's more, she does more crazier stuff, I feel. But I'm really excited to be on the podcast and to talk to Gato. I mean, I feel like God has really used her in podcast, and I really like seeing all the podcasts, and I'm excited to be here. Something about me, well, you just said to introduce myself, right?
Yeah, like how old you are, you know, what you're doing right now.
I'm 22, and right now, like Gato said, I did graduate with my degree in psychology. So right now I'm working for the state, like as a caseworker, and yeah, I don't know what else to say.
And I forgot to mention that you are currently engaged to be married in November. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yes, so I got engaged in November, and I'm going to get married in November, the whole year. So I'm honestly really stressed out with all the wedding planning, but it's really exciting to do that with my fiance, Carlos. I love everything. Like, we just went dress shopping, and we're about to go taste testing next week. So I'm just super excited for all of that. Yeah, it's really exciting.
Do you want to talk a little bit about how you met God exactly?
Yeah, so I always grew up Christian. Since I could remember, I was Christian. My dad was always like in the ministries and being a diacono, and then he's a minister right now. And how I feel like I always knew of God, you know, like growing up, you just know of God. But when I actually met him, it was at my first youth camp, and I don't know why, I just feel like that youth camp was just so powerful. And it was with Jacob Rodriguez, right? Our first one, right? And I feel like his preachings just like really touched my heart. And that was my first encounter with God and actually like praying. And like,
we were like 13, right?
Yeah, we were super little. So I don't know. I feel like, and I remember that the last day, they always like say like whoever wants to come and be baptized, like come up front and we'll just pray for you. And I just remember I'm a super shy person, but I just felt something in my heart like to go up. I'm like, I don't care. So I just went up, and God really touched my heart there. And that's when I started like being more curious about like who is God and what does the Bible say and everything like that. So that's when I was truly wanting to know and seek more of him. So that's when I really met him, was at my first youth camp.
Yeah, I feel like honestly it's crazy how much God can move at a youth camp and how important it is like for you to go to youth camp if you're not sure, or like take other people with you, invite people, because God can really like impact people's lives like crazy because you're just so disconnected from everything else. You know?
Yeah, and it was like the first one, so I feel like it was just so different from like going to like any other church service. Like it was like 3 days dedicated to just like worshiping and like just being in God's presence. I feel like that was just so different and so beautiful. I love youth camp. I really do.
Yes, 10 out of 10. Everybody go to GLD youth camp in to be determined dates.
Oh yeah.
You don't know yet.
Yeah.
So so you went to college.
I did.
We started so for those who don't know, Vicky and I were roommates.
Yes, until she left me.
Until I dropped out.
Jerk. Why did you say?
It's okay. So we were roommates for 2.5 years. I wanted to hear your experience not only on having, obviously I'm a Christian roommate, but then like, because after that you had some crazy girls as roommates. So I don't know if you want to talk about like just what was your experience having like a Christian roommate versus someone that wasn't Christian. Like,
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like not only were you my Christian roommate, you were my cousin roommate. So it was like very different. I feel like having you there really like kept me from doing anything like bad, kind of. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I feel like being at college, like the main thing that people do is like party and being like in that environment, but like you being there really helped me be like ground, or like we would even talk, like I feel like you know how we would be, for those that don't know, Carolina would come into my room like every night.
Literally
okay,
every night, dude.
She would come every night, and she would like, we would just like talk in the bed, just like about the most random stuff.
Yeah.
But sometimes we would talk about God, and sometimes we would talk about, she would just talk about like, oh, I just read this like chapter, and then we would just kind of like be talking about like God, and like, or I just prayed yesterday, and it was really nice.
Yeah.
So I feel like she kept me kind of like centered in that, like, oh, okay, I need to make sure I'm reading my Bible, I need to make sure I'm praying, because if God was doing it, like obviously I need to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And also it's just like having God as a roommate, it was really fun, but at the beginning we did argue a lot. Should we say one of the fights we had?
Yeah, well, okay, because honestly I feel like, first of all, having you as a roommate, it definitely did help me personally. Like, not wanting, because I was like, well, I don't, and it's because, okay, before us just being roommates and Christian and cousins, we're like sisters, best friends.
Yeah.
So like us going into that, I was like, nah, I don't really feel like hanging out with anybody else, because I would want to hang out with Vicky.
Yeah, me too.
And Vicky wouldn't want to go anywhere ever. Get me so triggered.
Like,
so,
what? Like what though?
Like, you wouldn't want to go to like any of the events, like any of like.
That's not true. I literally remember that we went to that one time. It's because every time we would go. Okay, I don't want to say this.
Every time we would go, it wouldn't be that fun.
Yeah, it would be fun, but we would literally just talk to each other. We would never talk to anyone else. We would just be talking about other people.
Yes, that's so true. We would just sit there and being like, why is she wearing that? Yeah, for sure.
But for funny, not for real though.
Yeah, we want to say it to her face.
Yeah.
But I feel like also, because they always say like it's risky to move in with your best friend.
Yeah.
Because you have high expectations that it's going to be like fun, sleepover every day.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like that, because at the nights, let me tell you, the nights were fun. We had a good time at night. Like, we would literally like stay up in bed. We would like stare up at the ceiling. Remember when you do like the game where you draw something?
Yeah, so what we would do is I would be like, we would have nothing to talk about, but for some reason we just couldn't go to sleep. We just wouldn't be like, okay, let's go to sleep. No. So I'd be like, okay, Gerda, what letter do you think I'm doing right now? And I'd be like, I'd just be like, hey. I
would guess it every time, dude. I was good at it.
That's so funny.
But we would fight. I felt like, because our personalities are just really different.
So different.
So in the mornings, you're not a morning person, and I'm more of like, once I'm awake, I'm awake.
And you left talking 24/7.
Yeah.
every day.
So we would just fight. Well, we wouldn't even fight though. I feel like the fact that we didn't fight maybe even made it worse, because I had like all this like, Vicky hates me. I felt like it deep in my soul that you
and
just
I
didn't
really
like me.
did. I feel like you did think that, and I really didn't. I just didn't like. Maybe I got annoyed of you sometimes, but I never like was like, freaking God, I don't like her. Like, that.
I felt like you regretted your decision 100%.
I never thought that too.
I know. That's why it's so crazy. And then we would have our fight. Do you want to say it?
The milk one?
Yeah.
Oh, not the milk one, the door.
No, the door one.
Yeah, I'll say it. So I feel like,
sounds so stupid. Whatever.
It's all Carol's fault.
Yeah,
but what is it called? I was in my room, and I forgot what I was doing. Maybe I was like reading the Bible or something like that. And Caro would come in. She just like would come into my room randomly and just like say random stuff. And what she would always do is never close the door. So then that one time she came to my room and she was telling me something, and she left and the door was open. I was like, look, Caro, you see, you never close the door. And she just came back, grabbed the door handle and threw it. She's like, oh yeah. And she threw it. I was like, what? Like, I didn't even know how to react. So all I did was I got up and I locked the door so she wouldn't bother me again, because I was reading the Bible. And then it was like the day before we had to move out. So then she was like cleaning or something, honestly I don't know, and she looked into the fridge and she saw that I had like milk in there or something like that, and she wanted to come back again to tell me, and she's like, Biggie, did you really just lock the door?
I was so mad. I was so hurt. I was like, how dare she lock the door on me?
That was our big, and honestly that's kind of crazy that was our biggest fight. Like, it wasn't even that big.
Yeah, because I feel like other fights that maybe like girls typically have, we just wouldn't have that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what other girls typically fight about.
Yeah.
But we just wouldn't really fight about that.
Yeah.
And I feel like, to be honest, you and I were not really like drama seekers or anything. Yeah. So like, it's not like we're like constantly causing drama or doing stuff or like fighting over boys or anything like that. Like, that just wasn't something that we fought about. So yeah, those are good times though. I feel like, especially because the first year we're like, okay, for the second year, we're like, okay, like this is what, and you're like, just don't talk to me before 11.
No, you said that rule yourself, and I agreed to it.
But it was a good rule.
Yeah,
I think it helped our relationship a lot.
Yeah, it was really good. It's because I just need like 2 seconds to myself so then I could communicate and be nice. Yeah. But also, like, since we were talking about a Christian roommate, I feel like it really helped having like someone to be like, okay, since we're not gonna go, because our college was in Fort Wayne, and we would have to drive like 2 hours, or no, an hour and 40 minutes back to our Elkhart, where we're from. So the Sundays we would stay back. Me and Carolina would be like, okay, we have to go to church this Sunday, like for sure, not miss it. So then it was really nice having that person to go to like a different church that you don't really know people.
Oh yeah, that's true, because we went to Fort Wayne number 2.
Yeah, so it was really nice having someone to go and also keep me accountable. Like, okay, I have to go to church on Saturday, because honestly, after you left, I don't think I went to. Well, it's because I never missed that much.
But we were doing lives at that time, right? So did you watch it just?
Oh yeah,
live?
I did.
Because I remember when we were in college, it was during COVID. So like sometimes I would just get on your bed and we'll watch we would watch the live together. I hated watching the live.
Oh yeah,
like it made me so sad.
It made me feel so sad too. Like
I
you just
like
wanted to be there.
Yeah, I know. And it was like praise time. We're just sitting there, the worshiping, and we're like. And I remember thinking like, because when you're just sitting there, you're just like, oh my gosh, it's taking forever.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how I felt. When you're there in the moment, it's like, woo.
Yeah, that's true. But what was it? Oh, you said the non-Christian. Yeah.
Yeah. So how was it having someone? Who were your like non-Christian roommates after that?
Yeah, so I had actually 2 different roommates after Caro. So honestly, the one on my senior year, I cannot tell you anything about her because she was never in my dorm, only at night. And I'm just gonna say that because I don't want her to see this and think of that. So, so it's just not good. But the other one, I feel like having not only having not my cousin there, but not having like a Christian roommate, it was for sure really different. I went through a lot of things not having, because like Caro said, I wouldn't want to go out and socialize. I just don't like going out, and like I'm just shy. I just don't like going out. So I feel like it was hard for me to make friends. So that roommate was kind of just like the person I kind of was like talking to, my first one after Caro. And when she would invite me to things, it was really hard for me to say no and be like, no, I need to be, you know, like not do those things.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. So I would say yes to a lot of things that she would invite me to. But then later on, I went back, obviously, and I've kind of understood, like, I don't know how to say it, but like, what's that one word where it's like you understand what you're doing is bad? What's that word?
Like you reflected?
Yeah, I don't know what the word, but I
whatever.
reflected.
You understood that what you're doing wasn't okay.
Yeah, so then I was like, I need to stop doing this. So then I went back, and obviously I understood that God is the only one that could keep me out from, like, because I was very, very depressed, and I had my anxiety was like on the all-time high when Carolina left, because I just didn't have like that person that I relied on, you know, when I was away from college. And I want to cry, but I was just like super I was just super like depressed, and I had so much anxiety, and like
dang,
every 2 seconds like I would have like panic attacks, and it was just like so hard for me. And I would look for me to distract myself like with that roommate, and she would invite me to like parties, and gracias a Dios I only went to like 2, but like still it was like a place I shouldn't have been, and I honestly felt so awkward and so out of place. Like she'd be like, come on, let's go dance, and I was like, I can't. Like I obviously I first don't know how to dance, and it was not someone Hispanic, so it was just like the weirdest dances. It was like the weirdest dances, so I just couldn't get
like Katy Perry playing. You're like, what
yeah. So I didn't know what to do. So it was for sure a place I just was not comfortable in, like, party settings at all. And it was just very, very different. But I feel like it taught me a lot. Like it made me understand that I would never find happiness. I would never find what I needed from the world. I would only find that from God. That's like security, and he honestly puts calmness in my heart from my anxiety. Like I for sure could tell the difference from the days that I would go do bad stuff compared to the days that I would seek God's presence. Yeah. Because I could feel like that immediate, like once I'm like, okay, God, I need calmness in my heart. Like I just would feel it immediately compared to like when I wouldn't seek him, you know what I mean?
Right. Like that moment of prayer, you're like, yeah, it's like a wash over
yes you. Yeah, if I felt like amazing.
So when you were struggling like that spiritually, what do you think, what was like your number one thing to do to go back?
The number
just
one
prayer,
thing, yeah, I think prayer was the number one thing. Like before, because I feel like I grew up always knowing, like my dad would be like, okay, at night we're gonna pray as a family. So I feel like not even like mentally think. I just knew, okay, and when it's night, I have to pray before I go to bed.
Yeah.
So the days that I wouldn't go to bed, like in my head, I'd just be thinking, Vicky, you need to get up and pray.
Yeah.
So then, especially like when you sin, I feel like you're thinking about it so much, right?
Because you have like the conviction.
Yeah, conviction. That's what I was thinking about, the conviction. I had so much conviction in my heart, like when I would go to a party.
Yeah.
So then the next day I would be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe like I went to that. Like I'm Vicky, I know you're better than that. Like you didn't even have fun. Like why did you even go? So I'd be like, I have to get up, and then that's when I would be like, okay, I need to stop, and then I would really just like have that time with God.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the times when you're about to do something like that, before you do it, it seems fun and exciting.
Yeah.
Like you're getting ready and you're like, oh, maybe we'll have some fun. And then you're there and it's like the biggest letdown.
Yeah.
Because you're just not having a good time.
Yeah.
Or like you're definitely not having as much fun as you thought you were gonna.
Right, yeah.
And you're just like, what the heck am I even doing here? And it's because you already know that we're called to be different. We're called to be, these children of God that don't do those things. So then when you end up doing it, you're like, I don't even want to be here. Like, how do you guys find this fun?
Yeah, no, dude, it was super like the first one I went to was literally at this. I'll talk about it since obviously it's a long time ago.
Yeah.
But the first one I went to was it was like not a lot of people. It was like at this house. It was like an apartment. First off, it was literally like 30 people max, and they would put like the most non-Hispanic music. Like it was
why?
Like I can't even remember the freaking
like Maroon 5.
Probably like Taylor Swift, things like that. And she would be like, "Come on, Vicky, let's dance." I'm like, "No." Oh no, they put the freaking Macarena. Isn't that what it's called? And she's like, "Oh, I'm so excited." I was like, "No, I'm okay." I was just sitting on the couch, like. But then that's when I was like, I remember I felt just so out of place. Like you don't feel comfortable at all. And obviously that's like the Holy Ghost telling you like, get out of there, girl. Yeah. Like what are you doing?
Yeah, that's God telling you to flee.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I remember honestly when I was in college, when I was a waitress, my junior year.
Oh yeah.
Because my junior year is when I dropped out, halfway into my junior year, and it's because you would go home all the time.
I would.
And I would stay at the dorms.
Yeah.
And I was so used to us just always being together that when you weren't there, I did not go out. I would literally refuse to leave the apartment, or the dorm. Like, if it wasn't for me to go to work, I would just stay. Yeah. Because I stayed because I was working as a waitress. Yeah. So I remember that and I remember, like, working as a waitress, you're so exhausted. And I was failing all of my classes. Literally all of them. Like, to the point where I didn't even want to show up to class because I was so embarrassed going from being like a freaking straight A student in high school to being a complete failure in college. You're like, what am I doing right now? And I didn't want to I didn't want to go to class because I missed so many classes already. I was so exhausted all the time. I was falling behind. And then on top of that, my confidence was going really, really low because I would eat a lot. So I joke around that I ate like 5,000 calories a day. I didn't get the freshman 5. I got the freshman 30.
Oh my gosh. That's not true.
I gained a lot of weight, dude, for sure.
What
were you saying?
I was gonna be like, you didn't gain that much weight.
I'm pretty sure I gained like 40 pounds.
And then okay. 3 years though,
it felt like, but it's because my confidence, it just really was ruined. So it was rough, and I remember being really depressed too. Yeah, dude. And I had like panic attacks in my car.
Yeah, I know. We would have it a lot. Me and Kyle would have them all the time because we would talk about it.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, I feel like college is such like a time filled with anxiety. Yeah. And if you're not holding on to God, like it's gonna so easily, you could be like there were times where you and I were like, maybe we should just go to a party. But then we would convince each other, like,
I was gonna talk about what I was talking about you in the car. I forgot where I was gonna talk about it. Let me just.
Oh, sorry, dude.
No, it's okay. It was about that one time for Halloween, how we went to that dumb clubhouse party. It was like the lamest. It was so lame. Like,
it was a Halloween thing. I feel like just because it was Halloween, we're being crazy a little bit.
We weren't even dressed up or anything, okay?
No, we weren't. We were just wearing like freaking jeans and a t-shirt. But yeah,
that was funny. I still think about it for some reason. I'm like, I can't believe we went.
It was so. I don't even know. Like, it wasn't even fun at all.
It wasn't.
But to be honest, I feel like Purdue Fort Wayne's not really a party school, so they're not really going to be doing stuff like that.
Yeah, it wasn't.
But yeah, I feel like just college is such a time filled with anxiety for sure. Especially because not only is it, if you're far away from home or not, but like I feel like everything that you're doing in college, you're like, this is gonna affect my life so much. Yeah. Like if I don't finish this, I don't know what's gonna happen to me. And when I dropped out, I was like, my life is over. Obviously it's not, but like in the moment I was like, dang, like I'm such a failure, And when you're struggling through college and you're going through that and you're having anxiety, you're like, I feel like you feel like you're the only one that's stressing out that bad.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, everyone, like, you and I
Yeah.
were stressing out like that. And so
Yeah.
many people stress out when it comes to college
Right,
because it's
yeah.
just such a stressful experience. You know, you're
Yes.
doing, like, so many finals at the same
Yeah.
time. Literally,
It's
like,
so
they would,
hard, yeah.
I'd be like, they need to arrange it so I'm not taking 2 finals in the same day because really, like, one final day is
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, it really is.
It was just so difficult, and being like you can't miss too many labs depending on what class it is, and
Yeah.
like I would be taking some really intense math classes and I'm just like sitting there staring at my paper like, oh my god, I don't know how to do this.
But you should say what you were majoring in so they know.
All right, I was majoring in mechanical engineering.
Yeah, so it was like super hard.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm like, one math problem took like 30 minutes and I have like 12 math questions with 3 parts each, and I'm like, dude, this is gonna take forever. And on top of that, I had physics and chemistry, and you know, so it was a difficult time and it was really stressful. So if you're not holding on to God for that, you know, you're gonna get stressed out. And for you in psychology, you were like did a lot of
lab too. Like I remember had like how you were talking about we couldn't miss a certain amount of classes, or then like they would start taking points off. Yeah, that was really hard. And then I sometimes do remember, like, all the papers I would write. Like, the longest one I did, I think, was 30 pages.
Dude, you had to write so many papers.
And but the hardest class I had to do, I even went to, like, because they had what is it called? Like, professor hours. What are they called? Like, teaching hours after?
Office hours.
Office hours. And I remember that's the only class I went to because it was for my 30-page paper. And I had to do, like, these statistics things. It was, like, the hardest class ever. But I did it, gracias a Dios. It's really hard.
You passed. You got your degree.
I got my degree.
It's crazy.
It's just crazy.
Do you think it was just crazy just being away from your parents in general? And
oh yeah, for sure. I feel like I remember I told you that the first couple of weeks, or I feel like it was first couple of weeks. It's kind of embarrassing, but whatever. I'm pretty close to my parents.
I don't think it's embarrassing. I think it's cute.
Okay, I'm pretty close to my parents. I feel like with both of them, I talk to them a lot. But for the first couple of weeks, I would go back like every weekend. Me and Carlos and I would go back every weekend. And when I would say bye to them, I would be like, okay, bye. And I was so sad. And in the car driving back, I would be crying. I was like, I'm so sad I'm leaving. But I would get over it, obviously. But I was just like so sad leaving them. But for sure, being away from my parents is really different. Something else I really struggled with in college, like I feel like I developed this over my college years, but I feel like I've always had like not the best relationship with food. I feel like I really developed like this eating disorder, kind of. I feel like my mom really helped me, like she, without her even knowing, I feel like mom's really like, did you make sure you ate? Like she just really reminded me to eat a lot. And she would always make me eat every single time. Like I would come home from school, like she was always there, and the food was already cooked, you know what I mean? So I feel like in college I really developed that. Like I would be like, nah, I just won't eat, just because I would obviously, I feel like in college I would compare myself to other girls too. I feel like, really? I don't know why, dude. But in college it really hit me because I feel like it's more common in high school.
Yeah, no, I compared myself 100%, but it's funny because I went the other way.
What'd you do?
I would get so depressed, I'd start eating a lot.
Oh,
like I'd be like, dang, I'm never gonna look like that. Start eating, or like literally,
but
like
that happens though.
Yeah, and then I would like be like, I can't believe I ate 3 packs of ramen right now with pork and cheese and egg. And so I'd go to the gym, and then I almost like passed out in the back.
You did, but I wonder why you passed out. I don't understand.
I think it's just because I was overexerting myself, and I just have like low iron in general. Yeah. So my body was like tired.
But low iron, girl, you're eating a lot of carne. Remember?
I was eating like super processed Chinese pork.
Oh, I thought that was. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
You know, like it wasn't really. Yeah. My body was really putting in extra work when I was eating like that.
No, but that was something really hard I had to go through too. But
dang, I didn't know that, V. I thought you just didn't because like you just never felt like eating.
No, I literally remember. This is really sad, but I remember being in it was like after you left, it got super bad. Like I wouldn't eat anything. Like I would what is it called? I would just eat like my little breakfast sandwich, you know, the one I always eat. Yes. But I wouldn't eat anything like the rest of the day. And I remember I would just be like at night, that's when I would feel like my stomach rumbling and I couldn't go to sleep. But I was like, no, Vicky, you can't eat. You're not gonna eat. And I would literally just go to sleep like that. And it would take me like until like 4 a.m. to go to sleep. But that's something I developed, like, because my mom wasn't there. I feel like she was like such a blessing. Like she really, and it wasn't just because I wasn't lazy to cook. Like I like cooking, but I just didn't want to do it just because of me comparing myself to others and being so insecure about like things. Yeah, for sure. I feel like college is so. It's like especially like, and it's because college, the dress code stops being dress code. Yeah. So there's no such thing as dress code anymore. So like girls with
crazy banging bodies, they're showing it off.
Yeah.
And you're seeing that and you're like, dang.
Yeah.
If I wore that, I would not look like that. At least I was thinking in my
I
head.
was thinking that too.
Or like, I would just be like, so like, dang, that's for sure not me.
Yeah, no. Especially so seeing like, we're Hispanic, right? So our bodies are different from like, güeras. Yeah. So it's just like, I would compare myself to them. Yeah. So it's just very different. College is really hard mentally. And
yeah. Was there ever like a verse that you relied on a lot?
Yes. I remember I'm reading it.
yeah. It's great.
What I remember, it's 1 Peter 5:7. It's casting all your anxieties onto him because he cares for you. And I just really like that one because, like I said, I had really bad anxiety. And I feel like anxiety is like everything you're worrying about, right? Like you just keep thinking about it. And I feel like in college, I was just like worrying about everything. I was worrying so much about my future because when I went first into college, I was majoring in nursing. And that for sure gave me the most anxiety out of all my like college years because when I was taking the classes for nursing, I was just like, I don't like this. Like it was like the hardest time of my life because
anatomy is difficult.
Anatomy is like the hardest class ever. But I mean, I like did all the work and gracias a Dios, like I passed and everything like that. But it was just like I knew I just didn't like it. Like I was thinking about like, okay, how would my day be like to be a nurse? And I just hated it. I didn't like it. So. But I remember I was like praying to God. I'm like, tell me what I need to do, what you put me on this earth to do. Like, I just don't see myself being on a nurse. So then with prayer and just like reading the Bible, I feel like one of the classes I had to take my prereqs was psychology. And I don't know, I just kind of like loved like learning about like the different theories and the different experiments that they would do and just like mental health in general and because I love kids a lot. So the only reason I wanted to be a nurse was to be a pediatric nurse. So that was the only reason I wanted to be, was just to work with kids. But then once I learned that with a psychology degree you could work with kids still, so I was like, I really like how those two like coincide. That's why I kind of changed it out to psychology. And
I feel like was it kind of weird choosing psychology because a lot of Hispanics think that's nothing?
Well, when I first, it was really different because when everyone knew that I was obviously majoring in nursing, and my parents were really proud of that because my mom is a nurse still. But when I told my parents I was going to change it, like my mom was like, oh, okay, that's fine. But then my dad was like, I remember he said, well, like, why don't you just drop out? I was like,
oh my God.
And it was like super, like, I remember I left and I was crying super hard because I was like, I can't believe he said that. Like, it's something that I want to do. Like, I want to learn more about, because like how you said, like growing up Hispanic and especially like Christian, I feel too. I feel like there's like this weird stigma where like you don't have anxiety, just like pray and it'll be over. But that's not how it works. Like God obviously puts you through that so you can even talk to other people about it. And I feel like I really like psychology too, because like myself, I went through depression, I went through anxiety, and it helped me learn how to go get through that, not only with like the theories and different methods, but with God too. And I feel like that's
because they teach you like coping mechanisms, right?
They teach you everything.
So like psychology, although you know a lot of people are like, psychology, you don't need that, like you need Jesus. Like, yes, we need God, of course. But you know, God has given these people knowledge. Why aren't you gonna let them be used?
And I feel like a lot of times growing up, like there's this, I would be like, I feel like I remember one time I went to for my pediatric like checkup, you know, when you're little you go to, and I remember I never talked about how I had anxiety just because I was so scared of like what my parents would say or what anybody would say, just because there was always like that bad stigma to it. And I remember I told my mom, like, Ma, I think I have anxiety, and I was crying to her while I had that appointment, and she was like, okay, we'll tell the doctor. So then when we told the doctor, and she was like, no, I don't think you have it from this moment, like from this whole like interaction, you don't have it. So I was
what
like,
the heck?
Okay, so then
that's crazy.
It, like, so that like for sure like shut me down from like ever talking about it, or I just don't like talking about it from like, just because I feel like what are they thinking, you know? I feel like, I don't know, which is weird.
That's crazy, because when I told my doctor I had a panic attack, she immediately wanted to give me medication, and she also said I had OCD.
I don't know.
I was like, what the heck?
She told me right
away. She was
away.
like, so like she didn't even make me take like an actual test. She was like, what color is science to you? I was like, it's green. She was like, OCD. I was like, oh, okay.
That's so funny.
But I feel like it's really cool that you're doing that, and you're probably bringing more light to it. And maybe one day we can talk maybe a bit more about psychology and everything that goes behind it. Because I feel like a lot of people are embarrassed about it, but it's not something you should be embarrassed about, because everybody goes through it. Like, that's something that a lot of people we deal with that at some point in our lives. There's not a single person that hasn't dealt with some sort of anxiety. Maybe not like a constant state of anxiety where you're literally like an anxious person always. Yeah. But we have like moments of anxiety, and knowing how to deal with it not only through prayer, but like, okay, here's a coping mechanism, count to 10 or whatever. Yeah. I don't know anything. Yeah. But, you know, like those good ones. Yeah. So like little things like that, and you're like, okay, like this is what's going to help me so that I can get to the moment where I can pray and not be freaking out. Yeah. Decide to cut my bangs because I'm so anxious. Me.
Did you do that?
I know.
She did do that. And she sent us a video when she was doing it.
I cut my bangs a bit too much. So if there is anyone right now in college that's like dealing with all of that, dealing with anxiety, dealing with, you know, comparing themselves, like whatever you were going through, is there any like recommendations, any words of advice?
I feel like a recommendation that if I could give myself, honestly, looking back, or like how you said another person, I'd feel like making sure you prioritize God, like out of all your, like even if you have all the homework in that you can't even think of, all like these classes, like you have to make sure you're prioritizing God, because after you give that time to God, everything will line up, and all your anxieties will go away. Like I said, like I feel like making sure you give that time to God right in the morning, or like reading your word and just talking to him about your day. Like it says in the word of God that he just wants to hear what happened to you, right? Like having that, he's your friend, right? And just having that conversation with him. And I feel like prioritizing him, it just makes you feel like secure, and making sure that everything's going to be okay. If you change your major 3 times, God, that's okay. Everything's going to be okay. Or maybe if you failed that test, I failed a lot of tests, but everything will be okay because God has you, and he says give all your anxieties onto him, right? Like the verse I read. So just give everything to him, everything that you're worrying about, everything that you had that panic attack about, you just go to him, and he'll take everything away from you, because that's what he's there for. He's there to listen to you and be that counsel for you. So
like even if you think that praying to God or talking to God isn't gonna help, do it anyways. Like do it anyways. Just spend like at least like a minute or two praying to God. Yes. Wait, let me ask you really fast, because you entered your most serious relationship with, which is Carlos, while you're in college. How was that? Like balancing everything, you know? I feel like that's just so crazy. So wait, when did you meet him? It was your senior year, right?
Yeah, it was my junior. Wait, it's because I graduated.
No, it was your junior year, because I was there. I was there when you met him. I remember when you were texting him.
No, you weren't there. Remember, I was texting you about it.
You're right.
We had a group chat. You weren't there.
It was junior year,
my last semester,
the second semester. Yeah. Okay, go on.
So how was I mean, it was good. I feel like because you're obviously a relationship, like it
develops.
Like it developed. So I feel like it wasn't like crazy at all. I feel like it was like good, like how it started. Like we were texting.
You weren't like stressed out having to do that and all your classes?
I feel like no, because he was really understanding. Like I was like, okay, I have to go to class, or I have to, I don't know. I feel like, and I'm really good, honestly, at time managing. So I feel like, okay, in the morning while he's at work, I'm going to do all this. So then once I'm done, I could talk to him. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, that makes so sense. I feel like I would do that just so I could like talk to him.
I thought in the beginning he was like going to school and then going to work. So he didn't have a lot of time.
No, he had. But we would always talk like in the afternoon. Like once, yeah. Because I feel like I think I had a late class. Like it would end at like 5. So then he would for sure be done with everything.
Oh, okay. That's just so crazy. I feel like, especially because when we're in college, like we were talking about like, oh, who are we gonna be?
I know we would always talk about that.
We went through our fair share of well, I went through my delusions, and you went through, you know, phases.
No, but another thing. What phases? Oh wait, are you talking about the guy that's talking? Well, I feel like in college. Wait, what? What'd you say? I told Carlos everything.
Oh, okay.
Wait, about what?
I feel like in college, because you feel like you're supposed to like start your life right after you get out. If you're not married, like you're like OMG, like.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's something else I was worrying about a lot too.
I need to find a husband. Yeah. Right now, and I remember when we were sophomores, we went to, or juniors, was it? We went to convention.
It was sophomore. It was
a sophomore year. We went to a convention in California, and I remember I'm like, I have to find my husband.
Me too.
Because I'm getting way too old. Yeah. I remember thinking, I was 19 when we went.
Yeah. No, it's because I also like like we're Hispanic. I feel
I
like
know they always
like
tell us, and it's because I was even like more sad because before that I went to California for another thing, and while I was in California, my mom and Ana Victoria, my sister, called me, and they're like, "Have you met your husband yet?" And I was like, "No," and like it like made me like sad. I'm like,
that
dang,
is so
like
sad. I feel like they should, because I feel like obviously
they don't do that anymore. But it was
no,
like,
I'm saying like it would be like I feel like if you met anyone, you would tell them like that. You know
right.
what I mean? Like we
Right.
wouldn't wait. So why are you
I
asking?
know, and I was like, no, I didn't find anyone yet.
Yeah.
And I felt like so much pressure on you, and I feel like it's so easy. I don't want to say to settle, but to settle. You know what I mean?
Like when
you're talking to someone that like they probably have like 6 red flags, but you're like,
no,
gotta get married, so I might as well.
Yeah, every guy
like he's
I
at
talked
least
to
cute.
before Carlos was a red flag. Like that one you're talking about. Was that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
The one that was.
Yeah, that one guy. Don't know if he's gonna watch it, so don't say anything.
Oh my gosh, you're right. I don't think so.
But yeah, like I feel like it's so easy, or just because like you're so, I don't want to say desperate, but like so much in need or in want of a relationship that you're willing to put aside your values, willing to put aside what you want to actually be in a husband because you want so desperately to be in a relationship. Yeah. And it's so easy for me to be like, I mean, yeah, he wasn't good, but I mean, it's okay. Like, who cares? Yeah. Because I want to be in a relationship.
Like,
so
you make
bad.
Excuses for that person.
Yeah.
Like everything.
Yeah.
Like every little thing. I remember I would do that.
Yeah, and I remember even when you were done talking to that guy, you wanted to go back and start talking to him. I'm like, Vicky, no, like, it's okay.
I'm not thinking about that one.
Oh, you're thinking about the one after him?
Okay, can we stop talking about it like that? I did talk to that many people.
No, it was like 2. It was like 2 before Carlos. It was like Carlos only knows about 1.
He's like, well, he's gonna call me right now. He's like, who are these people?
Yeah,
no, but that one for sure. Yeah,
I know what you mean. So I feel like it's just remembering that while you're in college, like enjoying your singleness, and not being so like I'm enjoying it right now, like, but like just remembering that, you know, it's okay. And I know Vicky knows, like, it's a struggle, you know,
for sure.
It's a struggle, like being like, no, I'm not gonna be with them, and then you feel like, am I being too picky? But really, like, if you're trying to meet your, you know, the man of God that God has for you, you just have to be patient and wait. And like when you're with Carlos, did you know like there's no red flags, this is the one?
100%. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like when you're with them, it wouldn't be like, should I even be with this guy? It's gonna be like so easy.
Yes, yeah.
Because the things of God, if it's from God, it's gonna be something easy.
Right.
It's gonna be like an open door. It's not gonna be a struggle to get to it. Right. Because God is gonna have that open path for you. So if it's a struggle getting to it in the first place, you're like, I don't think this is from God because I'm struggling just to maintain whatever type of relationship this is. Yeah. It shouldn't be that difficult.
Yeah, I remember when we first FaceTimed, it was because he was at work. Oh, because he did work at night, and it was such a. I remember the conversation flowed really good, and we had a lot of chemistry, and he was making me laugh a lot. So
right, like it shouldn't be difficult. So yeah, was there ever, for a fun question before we end out? Oh, wait, let me read really fast. I feel like if you're in college and you don't have a verse like to rely on, find one. Yeah, for sure. Find one and just go back and read it every once in a while. And it doesn't have to be the same one every single time. Like now I have like, that's my number 1 verse, which is Proverbs 3:5. But you can go back, listen while you're listening to the preaching, like start highlighting verses that you like that the pastor reads out, and find one that you're like, okay, this is going to be the one that I rely on. Yeah. Because having verses memorized, like that one verse in Jeremiah 33:3 that says, cosas grandes y ocultas tengo para ti, or something like that. It says like God has greater and hidden things for you. You just need to trust in him. Like that is another verse that I rely on more specifically for my husband. Like I'm like, God has something greater and something that I can't see right now. Yeah. I just need to trust in him that he has it there for me. Yeah. You know? So like just having those verses that you rely on God for is so important. So here's a verse I found. It says in Philippians 6-7, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. So like I feel like that's a good one right there. If you don't have a verse, that's the one.
I feel like I would recommend, because I have it on my phone like as a widget, and I just remember I would like just read it really quick, and it would be like super, like without even thinking, I'd be like, okay, I'm fine. Yes. Like right before a test, I would just read it. And
yes. Like have it as your lock screen, or have like interchanging, like especially if you're really struggling with anxiety, like just having little things it's gonna be okay. God is with you. Everything is gonna be fine.
Right.
But I wanted to ask a fun question before we end. If you ever had like a cringy or embarrassing moment while you were in college.
Let me think. I feel like since like I'm not really outgoing, I don't have cringy things that happen to me, but like I felt really like embarrassed because of this. What happened? You let me know if you already know the story.
Okay.
But it was like my first day of senior year, already back into the summer, and I think it was I don't remember. It was I was taking a business class just for fun, for one of my electives. I think was that what it's called, your extra classes?
Yeah. Vicky, you were in college.
I forgot, dude.
Yeah, you're elective.
I took a business class for fun, and there was literally I wasn't even thinking about it, but business, it was just all guys. So that class was literally like 2 girls, and then the rest were guys.
Yeah.
But after class, this guy had came up to me, and he was like, "Oh, I was wondering if I could like have your Snapchat." And I was already talking with Carlos, and I'm not the type of person to talk to a lot of guys at the same time. So then I was like, "Oh no, I'm already like dating someone." I think I said. He was like, "I wasn't thinking," like he yelled like super loud. He's like, "I wasn't asking for that. I was just asking for as a friend. Like, why would you even think that?" And then I was like, "Oh, okay." Like I was like, "I don't know." And then I just kind of like left. Like I remember I was like almost wanting to cry because
oh my god,
if someone like if you guys don't know me, but if someone yells at me, like I cry like right away just because I hate like that embarrassment. Yeah. So I just felt so embarrassed, and I was like, "Yeah, Vicky, what were you thinking?"
Dude, I hate it when guys do that. Like the moment you're like, "Oh, I'm sorry," like I don't see it that way. They're like, "You're not even cute." I wasn't even saying that in the first place. I was like, "Jeez." Yeah. It seemed like you were asking me out, but that's the only reason I'm telling you right now.
But yeah, I felt so embarrassed. And I remember the next class after that, one of the guys I was like friends with, he was like, "No, he for sure wanted that for that reason. Like, don't feel bad. Yeah, don't be embarrassed." Because I think he saw that I just like went away super quick. And I remember I was like super red just because it was like he said it like so loud. I was like, "Okay, chill." Jesus. So I felt so embarrassed. Like it wasn't my fault or anything. No, you know. Now thinking about it, I'm like, he was the one, but.
It was an embarrassing moment for you at the moment.
Yeah, super embarrassing.
Especially because I felt like as a shy person, you get embarrassed easily.
Oh my gosh, super embarrassing. Yeah. About anything. Coughing a lot of times in class, I'm done. Yeah.
You have to sneeze. I'm going to get out. Yeah. Yeah.
What about you?
I feel like, first of all, it's hard for me to get embarrassed nowadays, to be honest. And I had a lot of classes with...
Because you've done so many things, huh?
Yeah, it's just like whatever. And I feel like I'm not really a shy person either. So like for me to get embarrassed, I'm like, man, I'm not. It's fine. Yeah. But I had a lot of classes with guys too because of engineering. Oh, okay. But I wasn't really attracted to any of them that much. There's like one guy that I have a fat crush on, but other than him, like not really. But I remember in Purdue, you know how there's a lot of stairs like everywhere. Oh my gosh, yes. And a lot of my classes were on like the 3rd or 4th floors of these stupid buildings. And I remember I was friends with this one guy, and I thought he was kind of cute. It wasn't the main one. It was another one. It was my side piece. And I thought he was cute, and I remember we were walking up the stairs, and this guy's like fit. So we're walking up the stairs, and like as I was saying, like I was pretty chubby back in college. So I remember thinking in my head, we're like going up freaking 4 flights of steps, dude. Like you already know, first of all, just in general, you're gonna like be huffing and puffing at the top. Sure, so like I was like, oh my gosh, Carolina, like this is gonna be so embarrassing. He's gonna hear you like breathing so hard, you know? Yeah. And so I remember I was walking up the steps, and I was like, oh my god, like hopefully like he doesn't say anything, like hopefully he doesn't hear it. Yeah. And then we're all the way up at the top, and I'm like breathing super heavy because I'm like exhausted. And he was like, dang, those are tiring, huh? And I was like, yeah. And I was so embarrassed because I was just like, he's probably thinking to himself like, this chubby girl should have taken the elevator.
That was your embarrassing story.
Yeah. What? Do you have an embarrassing one for me?
No, I don't. But that's not a good one. I feel like literally, I that's like equivalent to like going up the 2 stairs and you're breathing super hard in class. Like that's not that embarrassing, but it's okay. That's yours.
I can't think of anything else.
It's okay.
I didn't really get. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like in college I didn't really get that embarrassed. Yeah. I have a bunch of embarrassing stories. It's a nice story. So yes, I feel like this was just, I feel like this was a good short one. Just talking about college and those who are going through college right now. I can think of one girl right now in our church, Mari, that is going in college. Yeah, she is. And I pray for all the time because I know how it is and I know how it's difficult.
Hard, yeah.
So, you know, if you're going through like stress and anxiety, talk to someone about it too. It could help a lot.
Yeah.
If anything, just so you can vent.
Yeah,
right?
I feel like also just like having someone that's like also going through the same thing, like having a friend that's in college. Like I know I talked about me not having any friends after Caro, but I did get a couple friends after she had left, and having someone that is like going through the same thing as you helps a lot. Like, so you guys could relate and also like vent to each other.
Yeah.
Because I know my friend Cynthia, hopefully she's listening, but we would hang out a lot, and I would feel like we would vent to each other about like all the workloads that we would have to do and everything. So
yeah, were you guys in the same major?
No, she wasn't. But we had the same class. I think it was, I don't remember what it was, but it was nice to have her.
Yeah, I feel like I liked having other girls in engineering because we would like talk about like, dang, this class is crazy hard. Yeah. Even though they're like super dumb smart and they'll like get it done really quickly. Oh. But I would be like, yeah, dude, it's crazy hard, and we're like working on it together. Yeah. So I feel like definitely having someone else understanding your workload and understanding how difficult it is. Yeah. For sure. Do you have anything else you want to say before we close out?
No. Like
no?
What?
I don't know. For the guests.
It was really exciting to be on the podcast. I'm so nervous, honestly. But I was really excited to be on it. Yeah, so it'd be super fun to do like the next one, like you said about the mental health one. I feel like that'd be cool.
Yeah, I feel like that would be good. Like maybe if you guys have any questions that you want to ask Vicky, mental health wise, about anxiety or depression or eating disorders as well, you know, we can talk about all of that, and she'll give you psychology advice, but you know, tying that in with God. Yeah. And I feel like that would be a cool episode. Yeah. And just breaking that stigmatism, you know? Thank you, everyone, for watching. Remember that we are called to be different. Just thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you have any questions or concerns or comments, please leave them down below. Please rate us on Spotify. Please follow us on Instagram. We are applejuice.podcast on Instagram. Yeah, just make sure to rate us, only 5 stars, please and thank you. And yeah, just remember that we're called to be different, like it says in 1 Peter 22. Hold on, what is it? 1 Peter 2:9. We're called to be different because we are a chosen race. Make sure to come back to the next episode for your refill on apple juice. God bless.